All right, before you skip, don't skip. You got like 3 minutes of stuff you need to hear before the ads, and then you can skip the ads. So we are doing a whiskey dinner on April 20th, or not a dinner, whiskey tasting on April 20th. And so we've been told a bunch that we never tell anybody when we're doing stuff because it's always usually private. This is an actual ticketed event. We are not selling the tickets. We are actually donating our time. We're doing it for free. We're not getting paid. So April 20th in Summerville, South Carolina, we will be doing a dinner. I said dinner again. It's not a dinner. It's a whiskey tasting. And I think we're doing Girl Scout cookies.
I think so.
I don't have the full plan at this moment. But it's going to be some good stuff, going to be some good content, and you're going to want to know what we're going to talk about. It's going to be good stuff. But it's Sports ALS. Our good buddy Philip is putting it on as a fundraiser, and you should probably think about it. So April 20th, 6 p.m. It's in Summerville, South Carolina. If you can do it, shoot us an email, info@whiskeywhitetails.com. It is $200 per couple, and I think it's 4 bourbons. There's also champagne if the wife doesn't drink bourbon. Accommodations galore, but the information is great and it goes to a good cause. That being said, this podcast is with Bob from Lone Duck. Bob is a dog trainer, and that's like the worst way I could describe him. He's an amazing guy. I met him at a dinner right before SEWE. He's friends of ours, and like he's just in the community of like we always say, you're always one handshake away from somebody, and in this industry. And that's what we found out in this outdoor space is like Bob is a cool dude, does a great job with dogs. He does a great job. I don't know how to do a Trump impersonation, but my point being, does a great job. And yeah, so this podcast is awesome. We were excited to have him. We actually had him to the house, and we were all there together, and we had a good time. It was a good conversation. So, Gus.
So, welcome to Whiskey and Whitetails, the show for those who hunt with passion, drink with the purposes. I'm Matt. That's
I'm Gus.
We covered a lot of shit.
How did I? That was great.
I don't know. Anyways, yeah, it's a great podcast. Thank you to our Patreon, of course. Thank you to Waypoint Network for having us. Thank you for listening. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Enjoy it. This was a great chat. We had a good time hanging out, talking dog training at a technical level that most people are just don't understand.
Yeah.
What goes into the dedication, right? Like he talked about not getting to go on vacations like normal people because you have 20 or 30 dogs that you're responsible for that have to still be fed and let out. And just a very fascinating. If you're into bird dogs or any sort of dog training at all, you will certainly enjoy this podcast.
100%. And it's brought to you by Mint Mobile. All plans have gone to $15 a month. Right now, you can get unlimited fucking everything for $15 a month. And that is at www.mintmobile.com/whiskey, and that will give you those discounts. So unlimited everything for $15 a month. I've been on Mint Mobile for 6-7 months. It's good shit. I haven't small things. I've noticed small differences, but the majority of the time I have great service. And even if you're worried about it, you're probably on Wi-Fi most of the time anyway. But
are any of the differences worth paying $300 a month for multiple phones versus $300 for the year?
Dude, I was paying $280 a month for AT&T for my wife and I. $280. Yeah. And granted, some of that was probably cell phone, financing your cell phone. But if your phone's paid off, $15 a month is unbelievable. I'll tell you, I'm building it. So I'm a car guy. I'm building a car right now. And I've done a radio den delete, and they make amplifiers today that have Bluetooth enabled on them. I've thought about buying like a tablet or bigger than an iPhone, maybe like a large Android phone that I could use as a head unit. So that I get my GPS, my music streaming, blah, 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 etc. $15 a month through Mint Mobile. I'm probably going to do it. It's worth it. $15 a month to have a head unit in the car that is.
You can't beat that.
Yeah. Perfect. So great thing. We're also brought to you every episode by Vantage Point Archery. Gus, tell me your favorite thing about Vantage Point Archery.
You really want to know my favorite thing about it?
I do.
It's the people.
100%.
It's the people that start and run that company. When you find a company with people who appreciate good work, good people, American values, Christian values, if that's your thing, they're just good people. Like they value relationships. They value creating good American-made products and providing jobs to Americans. And as a result of that, they are producing fantastic broadheads that can be abused more than any other broadhead I've ever seen, and then just resharpen and put right back into work like nothing ever happened. And we could shut down Whiskey and Whitetails today, and I could never speak to anyone at VPA again, and I would still continue to purchase those broadheads. And I
Amen, brother.
continue
Amen.
to give them to family and friends.
100%.
They're just that good. So
yeah, great company. They make everything that you could possibly want if you're going to shoot something with a bow. It's, I mean, from squirrels to elk. I mean, they have it all. And great company, great stuff. Their apparel's pretty dope too. If you notice, I'm wearing their new hat.
nice.
I got a manual focus set. New hat. This new swag is dope. The actual shirt they sent me, as you know, I've been carnivore crazy pretty lately. So I've like gained some muscle and lost some fat. The new shirt they just sent out, if you got biceps, fantastic apparel. Makes you look like you're swole daddy.
Okay. All right.
That's all I got.
All right, man. Well, thanks for tuning in, folks. Enjoy the show. We'll see you next week.
Gonna hope that's good.
Should be fine.
Nice. All right.
Here we go.
Welcome, everybody.
It's a good sound.
We have a special guest today. Drove all the way from New York and then to Camden and then to, I don't know where all you've been.
Charleston.
As they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Bob Owens. I'm a professional retriever trainer. My company is called Lone Duck Outfitters and Kennels. As you had mentioned, I'm from Central New York, Syracuse area, and then I spend my winters in the South. So I'm a good Yankee, not a damn Yankee.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So, yeah, come down here. I spend about a month in Charleston. Love it. Got great friends and basically a family down here. And then part of the winter, I'll go to Camden, keep training the dogs, run competitions.
Nice.
So I bounce back and forth.
Oh, yeah. Well, we met you. I guess we have mutual friends. And then I met you in person at the the Marshwear launch party. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we kind of met up all through the weekend, had a good time. We made a lot of good friends. And, but as soon as we met, you have a podcast as well, Lone Duck.
Yeah. Lone Duck's Gun Dog Chronicles.
There you go. So you guys check them out. And we started talking about podcasting, just kind of different setups that we use and having guests on. And of course, one of our favorite people to podcast with is fellow podcaster. So
makes it easy, right?
Yeah. You don't have to explain anything.
Yeah. You just talk.
You just get it. They get it. We don't have to explain anything. And it's generally less awkward. You ever get those folks that have never been on one and it's like
pulling conversation from them?
Yeah. And it's like, and everybody's afraid of like a couple of seconds of silence. They feel like they have to. But also, it's like, it's all right, man. Sometimes, conversations get quiet.
Let it breathe. It's fine.
Just relax.
If it's too long, I can edit that later.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry about it. Just let it. Sometimes you need to let the comment breathe a little bit. And the audience needs that. It's fine.
Yeah, we do the same thing. So we'll spend like 10 or 15 minutes in the beginning, and even though you're not really talking about anything, you can just see them get less nervous.
Yeah.
And then it goes way more smooth.
It's really noticeable. It's more noticeable on video, I think, than it is in just audio. But you can certainly hear it when you're listening to audio. Where at the beginning it sounds very much like an interview. Like, here's a question, here's an answer, and it just stops. And it's like, go on. Like, it's okay to keep talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Where are you from? New York. ... Okay.
Alrighty.
Good conversation. You were aware we were recording this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now we've been lucky. We've had a lot of good guests.
Great
and
guests.
Everybody on YouTube gets to stare straight at my crotch. I just realized.
I know I got the whole leg up situation. People will talk about that, but this is how I'm comfortable. And if you don't like it, you look salt.
You look good. It's framed perfectly for you, but for me, they're literally. I'm gonna have to change that.
Full frontal. It's beautiful. Can't be scared. Well, that's a little better.
Thanks. Get my good side.
Nailed it.
See if that's better.
Live, folks. This is live.
Hey, all right.
And we're back.
I'm much better with that.
Beautiful.
Yeah. All right. Now we're in show business.
It's always funny when we record somewhere different or we have an opportunity to do an in-person podcast. Most of our stuff we do a lot of it remotely. I live like 45 minutes from here, so it's easy for us to record a podcast whenever. We can just each go to our office and do our thing, and then we have guests. We are not pigeonholed to being physically together, and so when we do this, sometimes run into issues or we have weird setups, we've been in some funny situations, to say the least.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that, to be honest with you, I'm surprised that podcast that we did in Pennsylvania turned out decent.
Yeah.
The way everything was hodgepodge together. But hey,
Yeah, it was our first time. I figured out, I found an app that you can use your cell phone. So I plugged my iPhone into the thing and then run it through OBS Studio,
Okay.
and then run OBS through the platform we use, the online platform. And I don't ever say who they are because we pay to be a part of it. So I'm not.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
I know
Figure
who
it
you're
out.
talking
on your
about.
own.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So it's like it's kind of you never really know. It's like we hope. So we usually record audio on there, but the SD card corrupted. So we had to use what came through OBS, which then came through the streaming platform.
yeah,
And it was metally, 10G.
it was unfortunate. We've used these mixers for, and I'm not going to name the name, but for years now. I've never had that issue, and I think it was just it just happened to be, one is none, 2 is one is none, right? And that SD card just shit the bed that day for whatever reason, and it like 2 minutes into the podcast, there's a warning popped up and said it was corrupted, and I was like, shit.
Dude, there's nothing worse than doing a whole podcast and going back and hearing tons of noise in the background, and you're like, "This."
We've
I
done
just
that a
wasted
couple
that
times.
dude's time.
Yeah,
And it was a badass podcast.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
the
you will
worst.
Never
too.
recreate it.
Yep.
We've had some great situations where we had really awesome openers and a great like conversation and a couple of jokes that hit really good, and then it was like, hey man, we're not
Forgot to hit record.
forgot to hit record, and it's like, oh, like whatever's happening right now, for example, both cameras are spinning, and I've never seen that before, so this is interesting. But
roll with it.
Yeah, that's all we can do.
That's what it is. It should still be.
Have you guys been on other people's podcasts much?
A few times, yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Is it hard to not hijack it?
So there's a tendency that comes when you have these headphones on and you have a microphone, something that switches in your brain after a while.
Yeah.
And it's very hard not to continue to drive because you're just used to driving the conversation and making sure that it continues to flow.
Yeah.
I think we do a pretty good job of not taking over, but there's been some times where it's like, anyways, like,
tell me more about you. I want to talk more about deer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, we've definitely been in that situation before. It is what it is.
Yeah.
We lose a lot of I'm gonna get off Wi-Fi just so it's not me.
No.
We lose a lot of, in the beginning we lost a lot of like really good stuff just because like we'll do a whole episode when we were figuring out the camera thing. Like these have a 30-minute timer.
Yep.
So we got an hour in the first time using them and realized
last 30 minutes is gone.
Didn't have anything.
We have the audio, but there's no video.
Yes.
And so like you see the cord coming from the black cord coming from both cameras. We figured out that we have to use an external battery that instead of having just a battery so it can run remotely, it's plugged into the wall. So we can run these things for hours that way.
Yeah.
But it took us losing hours and hours of footage to figure that out.
And we spent a lot of money buying different equipment to hook it up.
Thinking it was going to work.
And none of that stuff worked either.
And it's one of those things where like, people are like, why didn't you just research it? Look, man,
like listen, bro, you research it.
Like, you research some of this stuff and you get a million different answers.
Yeah, bro, I'm a dog trainer.
Yeah, like
I don't know this stuff.
Well,
I would have been a software engineer.
Right. Well, that's part of the problem. We both do work in IT, so some of the stuff should come a little bit more intuitively, but it doesn't always. Like it just
anything
doesn't.
new that you do.
Yeah,
sure.
So
lots of lessons learned.
How did you get into what part of your life when you were like dog training? That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. The long story is ever since I grew up, like little baby boy, I wanted a dog. My family, my mom was quote unquote, everyone here, allergic.
Yeah.
Right. And when I was about 8 years old, my dad goes, Mary Beth, if Bobby was dying tomorrow, would you get him a dog? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't I do that? He goes, well, what are we waiting for? Let's get him a dog. Cool. Got my dog. And he was the greatest family pet, yet the worst. The classic, like would run away from home and you're driving around like, you want to go for a ride? Like trying to catch him and drag you down the street, holding on to the leash, drag you down the street. And I specifically remember that example. My parents were having an adult Christmas party or something. It's cold out in New York. And I get drugged through the slush by my old dog because there's tons of people at the house and he's trying to rush back.
Yep.
And I'm like Charlie Brown and behind him.
Fighting this dog, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm come inside and I'm crying because my uncle had a dog that could walk off leash and go anywhere he wanted. Go
Mm-hmm.
sit at the bar with him outside off leash. Everything was great. I'm like, I want a dog like that.
Yeah.
So that's the first moment in my memory where it's like, I want my next dog, my dog someday, to be obedient and be able to go anywhere and do anything.
Yeah.
So that's the first part. Then went to college, did my thing. First job out of college, I was a copier salesman. That sucked.
Yeah, I bet.
That sucked. Sorry, anybody who listens that is a copier salesman. I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel your pain. In my first paycheck, I bought a dog, yellow lab named Buck. And during college, I got more into the duck hunting and knew that I wanted a dog and read every book, every DVD before I even had them. So I had an idea and a knowledge, but had never put it into practice. And so I took that dog, and he was phenomenal. You know, in all intensive purposes, he was a really great animal. And he could do anything I asked him to. He could do the hand signals. Nobody taught me. I just figured it out from reading and watching DVDs. YouTube wasn't a thing.
Sure.
Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
like it was not a thing yet. Jumped around job to job being a salesman, ended up becoming a business insurance salesman, where I met a ton of entrepreneurs. And I always thought business people who own their own business were on a pedestal to me. They must be smart.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get to talk to them and know them, and they're just like me. They just had a passion for it. They learned from their family. They just went for it and took a dive.
Yep.
And now they own garages. Now they own a construction company. Now they own, you know, a chain of pizza joints, like whatever. I met all these dudes and women, and they were just go-getters. And so I had one guy that kind of took me under his wing and pushed me. And so I started a t-shirt and hat company called Lone Duck Outfitters.
Okay.
And we were a t-shirt, hat, e-collars, all the stuff that you would need to train a duck dog.
Sure.
We would sell.
Nice.
And so I'd travel up and down the East Coast, and I would stay with professional trainers during the week, and on Saturday, Sunday, sell at the events, go home Sunday night. So me and Buck went everywhere. I mean, everywhere, just slinging gear out of a trailer and my truck. And that is when Facebook started kicking off, and Facebook blew up my social media company, right? So people were buying stuff from all over the world. I'm like, holy cow, I've got a business.
Yeah.
Making like 10 grand a year, but I had a business.
That's good.
I'm
though.
doing
It's
it,
good.
right?
Yeah,
Like
right.
some 25, 26-year-old kid. But the kicker was during those moments of training and sleeping on somebody's couch who did it for a living, that's where it was like, boom. I'm learning, and this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I think at 26 or 7, I got an opportunity to go work for someone here in South Carolina. And I did all his young dogs. So basic obedience house pets, and then a 6-month-old puppy, and build a duck dog for that person. And I was doing 18 to 20 dogs a day, rocking and rolling, learning, building, honing my craft. And then I went back to New York, and the rest is history in essence. And then social media and the podcast and everything kind of kept rolling.
Yeah. You just keep adding on as you have time to fit in new things that are also promoting the business.
Yeah, that's kind of where it's at. I mean, I look at it like my business is a stool, and each leg of the stool brings in revenue.
Yep.
To hold everything else up. So dog training is the main one. The podcast is one. The online sales of the t-shirts and hats still is one. YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff is another.
Right.
And puppy sales is another. And you're just figuring your way out through the world.
Yeah.
And then the main goal too is to teach other people how to do it. And that's what I use the social media for. So YouTube channel is all me teaching people how to do it with their dog.
Yeah.
And promote the opportunity for them to take a little baby puppy and go duck hunting.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because a lot of people I know in this day and age, they want to gatekeep information.
Oh yeah.
Right. So you're sharing information on how to train your dog. Right. But that's also your business. So people are like, well, why are you giving away your secrets? Well, the thing is that 99% of the people don't have the energy or the time or the want to actually implement the stuff that you do on their own.
Right.
So you're going to get those customers anyways.
That's right. And I can't train 50,000
Right,
dogs.
yeah.
I can train
Yeah.
30, right?
Yeah. Of
So
course.
I would much rather teach the young Bob Owens, the guy who was 22 with his first yellow lab.
Sure.
Let me help him get himself rolling and build that relationship with his dog and be able to go out duck hunting and slogging through the marshes
Right.
and do it.
But to my point, or the point I was going to I think I was, as a business person, people were like, well, I don't want to give away my information, but you're able to monetize that still
Sure.
on YouTube. Like, I imagine a lot of people are watching that because either they want to learn just because they're a young version of yourself, or they watched enough to realize, oh shit, I can't do this, right? So
Sure.
this guy does it. Let me hit him up, right? So
it also kind of shows like it's not everybody's like, well, I mean, why does it cost so much? I mean, I don't know what your prices are, but it's like, go watch some of these videos and then you go home and try it.
yeah,
And you're like, okay, even though he's showing me step by step how to do it, I cannot get this dog to listen to me.
Yeah. Well, what blows my mind is people who think what I charge, or like, oh, I'm as far as rates go, I'm like right there
Sure.
with the market.
Yeah.
A little bit more maybe, but right there. But when you think about people who send their dogs to doggy daycares,
oh yeah,
they're not getting trained and they cost the same as me.
Right.
I got to wake up at 6 a.m. and go to bed at 8, or put them to bed at 8:30. Like, I'm doing it 24/7,
Yeah.
working those dogs and teaching them something, not just being running around and
sure.
Yeah.
you pick them up after work. Like, this sucker's learning.
It's a ton of work. And like my wife, she's been a dog groomer since I've met her. So she's the days of us having, like, we always had well-behaved dogs because she sees the worst of dogs. And it's so funny the way people treat their animals. Like, no, he's just being him. He's just being silly. It's like, no, he's being disobedient and he's not well trained. He's misbehaving and you're not disciplining him at all. And then people just don't get it that there's ways to train a dog that's not always discipline. There's also reward.
That's right.
But training a dog is super important in your everyday life. Like, if your dog doesn't listen to you, it's your fault, not his.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I'd
100%
agree.
of the time.
I mean, look at children, right? I feel like people, there's two ways to look at it. A lot of people aren't disciplining their children enough, and other people are very strict with their kids. And then, like, you're looking at them going, man, that kid's going to be a good human being.
Sure.
And their dog's a pile of shit.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
how about you take a little bit of what you're doing with your kids and apply it to your dog? You're not doing anything crazy. You just ask it to do something, show them, teach them, and now hold a standard. And all of a sudden, you got a dog that doesn't jump on your guest, doesn't jump all over you, and you think it's all good when you're in your, jeans and a t-shirt, but when you're going out and getting
100%.
dressed up and going to a work meeting in your suit and he jumps on you and it was raining out, you're pissed.
Yep.
But the rest of the time you're cool with it. It's kind of not fair.
Yeah.
100%,
And we had Dobermans, so we never allowed the jumping thing because they're big dogs. And
yeah.
but also that's how dogs get shot. Like, they run up on somebody and try to jump on them,
Fair.
especially if they look like a Doberman.
Yeah.
The other thing too is people don't understand dog behavior, just how to tell if a dog's happy or not, or stressed. And a lot of times they're like, oh, he's just shy. It's like, no, that's very aggressive behavior, and you're an idiot. That dog is gonna bite somebody someday.
Yes.
You see that a lot, I bet.
I usually don't tell people I'm a dog trainer when we go out to parties and stuff, because that's the same idea. Or like if we're at a brewery and they allow dogs and people are letting them all quote unquote play, and I'm sitting there going, this ain't gonna be good.
Not good.
This is not gonna be good. That dog's getting nope. Oh, bang! There's a dog fight. I'm like, saw that coming.
Yeah.
You can't help everybody.
Does it bother you as much as it bothers her? Because we'll go places like, I've never, and I'm not talking shit about people who bring their dogs. Like, it doesn't bother me. I don't care. But I do think it's odd that people like must bring their dogs to everything they do. A little different for people like Brian, where that dog's been there forever. I mean, he's the motto, he's everything, but like for just a regular person that just owns a dog and they feel like the need to bring that dog everywhere they go.
Yeah.
To me, it drives me nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I don't bring my dogs everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, and I do it for a living. And that's probably partially why I don't. I need a break too.
Sure,
I love them for what they are. I love what I do. I'm passionate about it. But if I want to go to a brewery, I don't want to be worrying if my dog's going to get nailed by somebody else, or, dude, there's even kennel cough. Like, I can't afford to have kennel cough go around.
Oh God, no kidding. I didn't think about that, but yeah.
Like, how many dogs do you have right now?
Right now, while I'm here in the South, it's like 24. I think I got to adjust.
Thank you.
Boys.
You're probably gonna have to just spin that.
I'm gonna mute your mic so you can.
Yeah, just that little knob thing on it. Just spin that. I don't know what these things suck. We both have like nice arm setups in the office. Yeah, there you go. That should fix it.
You can angle that towards you a little bit more if you need to. Yeah, and you can even move the actual. Yeah, there you go. Shouldn't need to move too much. They should just move pretty freely.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Nice.
I can hear it compared to your
guys'
guys'
mics. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I can hear it a little. Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, now we're sexy boys.
Now we're
in the game, baby.
Yeah. Now we start doing voice tracks.
Yeah, but I'm the same way. Like I have kids. I don't bring my kids everywhere. I could,
Come on,
but
dude.
I don't. Like because my wife and I like to fucking break sometimes. And but you know what? So do other people. Like
exactly.
there
I
are-
don't have kids. Everyone's got to bring their
and he'll
kids.
tell
Yeah.
he'll be like, "Why do
I
people
know.
bring their kids here?" And I'm like, "Dude, I have 3 kids and I wouldn't bring my kids here." There's just some places where it's like you just don't need to bring them. And you know what? Like
It's okay to have adult time.
it is absolutely for
Yeah.
sure, 100%. And
Yeah.
so
And I love kids too, but I need adult time. I need
yeah, absolutely.
away from dog time. I need guy time where we don't all have to bring our wives.
Yeah,
for
You know,
sure.
everybody needs balance in that.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
100%.
More guy time.
Yeah, I love guy time. Guy time's it's a lot of fun. I love doing stuff with my wife. Like but yeah, hanging out with like just dudes doing dude shit is fun. That's one of the reasons I love hunting. It's just a bunch
Yeah.
of guys doing guy. You know,
I'm
especially
pretty
when you're all in the same mindset on life.
yeah.
And like there's nothing to argue or discuss. It's just pure fun.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
I
sure
love
there's
it.
been like studies by psychologists and sociologists that have proven or shown that for men's mental health and general well-being, like they need time with other men. And I don't mean like with just any like men.
Yeah.
And I'll just leave it at that. But like within their tribe, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you need like and I think they said ideally it's like 3 guys nights a week, which is
Wow.
which is kind of crazy with, you know, I couldn't pull that off with a job and kids and
No.
the
If
shit
you
like
think
that.
about
But
like the generations before us, like
Sure.
warring tribes and like just the way life was, it was very different. But I think that it was usually segregated. Like men were with men, women were with women. So it's definitely, you can't deny that it's part of our genetic
sure.
makeup. It's just in us.
it's more recently, I would say, that's not
Yeah.
been the norm.
Like how we all get invited to baby showers now.
Yeah.
You won't see me at one. I didn't go to his.
Well, see, I didn't have a baby shower. My wife did.
That's what I mean. I didn't go.
That's the point.
I didn't go.
I didn't go either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, baby
Did-
shower. I don't go to. No, that's not for guys. Guys don't do that.
Did you see? Where did we go for your honeymoon? For your bachelor party?
I didn't really have a bachelor party.
No, you did. I went with you. That bar. They're closed. Did you see they closed it?
Oh no, we just went and hung out at
Wild Wings.
Wild Wings. Yeah.
Did you see they closed Wild Wings?
Like Buffalo Wild Wings.
No, it's a local company called
The-
Wild Wings.
Okay.
The whole company?
No, the one in
In
where
North
we-
Charleston?
In North Charleston. Yeah, they closed it.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Death of an era.
Apparently not good wings.
Stark used to work there. Like a lot of people worked
shitty
there.
service. The wings
Yeah.
weren't bad. The service sucked.
I mean, I haven't been there since we went there.
Yeah.
What was that 2014?
I haven't been there in years either. It went downhill at some point. I don't know. It's change in management or policy or whatever. But yeah, just not good.
I know we all got drunk, and then we were like, we got to figure out how to get home. And Gus was like, I haven't really been drinking, so he drove.
I did.
Drove us back. We stopped at Taco Bell, got everything on the menu.
I was so paranoid about being hungover the day of my wedding. Like I didn't really.
Oh,
drink
you did
anything.
it the night before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like I didn't really plan.
We were just in town. We were like, let's do it.
Everybody was in town. I
Gotcha.
hadn't really had a bachelor party. I was like,
I get it.
I don't like. It's just a night out with just the guys. Like I don't know. I just didn't.
It was enough.
It was enough.
Yeah.
Like it is whatever. And so, but
I'd have thrown down though, so God bless you for
Yeah.
not. I'd have
Well,
thrown down.
yeah, for
I'm
sure.
ready to raid
I
that
did.
bar again.
I got shit faced.
Well,
I'll get us a pour going.
So we we were at the rehearsal dinner,
Okay.
and we had we did a low country boil, had a bunch
Oh,
of seafood and drinks, and it was a good time. And then we left, and the place we were getting married was out in the country, is a big cabin by a pond that had an island in the middle with a bridge that went to it.
This is
That's where-
romantic.
We had like the ceremony there,
It was.
but the house is where the bridal party stayed. So they stayed there the night before, so they could get ready and not have to go anywhere. So we left, and we're like, I had friends in town and
Thank you,
things
sir.
like that. And they were like, well, what are we gonna do? And I was like, well, we can let's go have some drinks. We'll just go hang out for a while. And that's what we did. Everybody drank. I didn't drink much, but I was hungrier than hell because I didn't have time to eat. So we left and spent like $130 at Taco Bell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about your life choices here. You stayed sober so you'd feel good. Then you went to Taco Bell and you'd be pooing your pants at
This
the
is-
altar.
This is back when we were young and food didn't affect us.
Yeah, I could
Dude,
eat-
I'd be up there going.
I
Yeah.
could eat anything.
probably
I
was.
could eat anything and I'd be fine. We stopped on the way on my wedding day. We stopped and got a pizza at
Yeah,
a
that's
pizza
right.
place
That's right.
next to Publix
Yeah,
over by where you used to live.
Can't remember what it's called, but yeah.
We got a what's that sandwich? It was a pizza.
Stromboli?
No. That's like
a panini.
no, but
I don't remember.
it's got Thousand Island dressing on the sandwich.
Reuben.
A Reuben. We got a Reuben pizza.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember now.
You hadn't been home from Afghanistan very long, so you were still like, if it was American food or food and it was something you hadn't had before, you're like, I gotta have that.
Gotta have
so you're like, I like Reubens, I like pizza, I'm gonna have that. Anyway.
It was you got married like the month after I got home, right? Like I think I was home like 2 weeks from.
Yeah, I got married in October. So
from like Afghanistan, not like a cool base, but like shitty base. And so I come home and I'm
like, he went from like being,
I was still
being mortared in firefights to like 3 years later, like in my wedding.
Yeah.
There's a picture where
3 weeks later,
there's a picture where we're signing our marriage license after we got married on his back, and he is so focused and just like so like militant. Just like he looked almost pissed off, but I know that he was just like, I can't fuck this up.
Do not move.
This is my job right now. This is my duty. I will be as still as possible.
I was clicked in. Yeah, there's another picture too of like your sister talking to somebody, and then I'm just like I giving him like the death stare, like just I'm gonna fuck this dude up because he was talking to Gus's sister. Do you remember that picture?
It's in there somewhere. There's a bunch of good pictures. Anyways, we're way off.
Yeah.
Let's welcome to our podcast.
Dude,
Yeah, we'll bring it back. So hit that top left button. This is for those who haven't heard this in a while. We're gonna. Yep. Just the sip. All right.
Yeah.
So just the sip. So basically, all we do in this segment is you just take a sip. You get one sentence, and that's it. We're done. So we'll let you start. What do you think?
One sentence?
Yeah, just like, ooh, peanut. Wow, I got a lot of peanut right there.
I'm tasting some cherry oak.
Okay.
And smoky after tenons.
Not bad. Not
Thanks.
bad.
Very
Not
good.
bad.
Yeah,
That's a
thanks,
pro.
man.
That's a pro review right there.
Thanks.
Gus, what do you get?
It's good.
It's good. There you go.
That's all you get from me today.
That's just the sip.
What is it?
This is Bibbin Tucker Double Char 6-year. A guy I work with, he was like, I want you to try this. I think it's good. He knew I like peanut.
Yeah.
He didn't tell me there's peanut in it, but I get a ton of peanut on this. And I'm not a huge Bibbin Tucker fan, but
you
the
said
Double Char is pretty
said
good.
the tannins. That's right on point with the double char. That's very good.
See, I drink and I know things.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Double Char would mean that it's spent twice as long in the wood. They basically char it and then they char it again, so you get like this heavy. You get a lot of tannins out of this because it comes from the wood. So that was a great tasting profile.
Great observations.
Yeah,
thanks. I'm a freaking professional.
Yeah.
Some call it alcoholic, other calls it professional.
No,
Let's
we're
go.
professional.
It's all the details, man.
Yeah.
It's all subjective too. So how long have you been training dogs professionally?
Professionally, going on 10 years. So this will
Okay.
be my 10-year anniversary.
Very
Nice.
cool.
Yep.
And it's all retrieval stuff, or
Yeah. So early on, the joke was I would train anything if the check cleared.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yep. So I was living in a warehouse, sleeping on a bed on the floor, making two ends meet. I mean, it was all bootstrap. And it was fun in those days. But I would do golden doodles. I would do pointing dogs. I would take the dog that might bite you and I'd fix it. Literally anything. But the passion was retrievers. And so through time and patience and hard work and word of mouth, I could filter out the dogs I didn't want to do and do more of the ones I wanted. And then the ones I wanted got better, and then more of those filtered in. We still, like, the business has grown. So now I have 2 employees that do obedience.
Yeah.
And then, I do all the retrievers and competitions.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You've mentioned, so that's the second time you've mentioned competitions. Are these competitions where people are competing just for the sake of competing, or are they competing for, I know in certain types of dogs, there are like certifications or like levels of certification. I'm only familiar with that in pointers primarily.
Yep.
Is that the same what they're competing for?
100%.
Okay.
Yep. So I compete in the American Kennel Club, AKC, hunt test and field trials.
Okay.
So you've got the basic young dog one called Junior Hunter. The next one up is Senior Hunter. Next one up is Master Hunter. So we'll take a dog all through that system until they're done. We compete at their national event called the Master National. And that's a super fun, super stressful, hard event. 1,200 dogs entered
Wow.
last year, and I think like I don't know, Google it, but 600, 500 passed.
Wow.
Holy
So
cow.
it was about, I think the rate was like 40% passed. So whatever 40% of what 1,200 is,
Yeah.
Google that and do that in your calculator. But and we did well there. I mean, I'm proud of the dogs. They all gave 110%, and we bust our hump to get there. Then the field trials. So those events are pass fail. If you meet or exceed the standard of the rule book, you pass.
Okay.
The field trials is win and lose. So me versus you guys and your dogs, we show up and this is what they've got set up. And it's
Gotcha.
to emulate, in essence, of a duck hunt.
Sure.
Yeah.
Dogs got to sit still and be obedient. They got to watch where the bird falls, and they got to go and get it and bring it back.
Yeah.
And then if they don't see one fall, we run a blind retrieve. You kick them loose, stop them on a whistle, and give them hand signals. And the best dog wins.
Gotcha.
And that is, I think I've only been doing that for 2 or 3 years now, and that is fun.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
The butt pucker factor of that.
Oh, yeah.
Because the other ones, it's like the dog did good. Wasn't
Sure.
super proud of it, but it passed.
Yeah.
These are like, that dog did really well and didn't get anything because 6 other dogs
Just kicked ass.
Yeah. Right.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's really, really neat.
Sounds like a great way to measure like how a dog's performing.
That's right.
Against other, because to say and to know that your dog did really well against any other standard, right? If you took that dog into the field, that would be a phenomenal hunting dog, but it wasn't the best on that day. Maybe not even close to the best. That would be,
It feels bad.
I'd be going home like, I got work to do and I'm super motivated to do it because I know exactly this. I watch those dogs. I know the standard I got to work to. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So in business, I've got to make maneuvers, right? So right now, the bread and butter is training a duck dog and the hunt test. That's our bread and butter. But I've got a group of dogs that are really, really good, and their owners are intrigued by this winning and losing game. And so if I can, the next 5 years shift more towards that because I like doing it, that's the goal.
Yeah. That's sick. It's so you said 30 dogs a year? Is that what your
30 dogs at a time.
Okay, at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And how long is like your boot camp or training class?
Sure. So just regular house dog basic obedience is 4 weeks. They come and live on the farm. Come when they're called, sit till I tell you to do something else, go to a dog bed, stay there, lay down, walk nice on a leash, don't jump on people, don't bite people. Easy.
Yeah.
In essence. So 4 weeks. The gun dog program is 4 months. And in that amount of time, they're learning how to handle live birds, dead birds, boats, blinds, decoys,
Wow.
gunfire, and hone their skill set, right? Like God gave them the ability to see a duck fall and feel like they'd like to go and get it.
Yeah.
But they don't always want to come back, or they don't mark. We call it marking. So seeing that bird fall, they may not mark as well as other dogs just because they're not as gifted as others. So we improve that and then put them into real life situations so that you can take that dog duck hunting in South Carolina, New York, South Dakota, Texas, wherever you want to go. And it can do it.
That's
So that's 4 months. Then the advanced program where they can stop on a whistle and change directions and do whatever you want, that's undetermined. I mean, I've got dogs that are 5 years old and I've had them most of their life except for duck season.
Wow.
Yeah. And those are the ones that are competing at the field trials and the Master Nationals.
Do they work like with the pack mentality where they learn off each other as well?
They do not.
They don't. Okay.
Nope.
Interesting.
So with that theory, right? Like let's take a hound. There's pros and cons of running a young dog with an older dog. One, they could start to click and be like, this is what is cool. I'm smelling this smell. I'm chasing the older dog, and they start pairing it. But then if you have a lazier dog, they're going to go, I don't have to work that hard. I'm just going to follow the big guy.
Yeah, I see.
So you would maybe set them up to teach a little bit like that and then pull the older dog and say, all right, little man, time to graduate and start figuring out more on your own.
Yeah.
Our dogs don't look out and see another dog do the job and go, oh, I see. All you got to do is watch that duck and go and get it. They just don't learn like that.
So I'm going to pick one since it's duck. Speaking about duck hunting, so like you don't want the dog, for those that don't duck hunt, you don't want the dog running around doing stuff. You want it sitting in a spot, usually out of the water, just chilling. And then once you send them, so how do you teach? I'm not going to go through just this one thing, but how do you teach a dog to basically sit forever?
That's a good question. Just take time.
Yeah.
So, for instance, you start with your 8-week-old puppy and it's feeding time and he's fired up to eat. You're going to hold his collar back just a little bit as you're putting the bowl down. And when he relaxes just a hair, like a split second,
Oh.
release. And he gets instant gratification for relaxing a bit. Same idea. So, if I'm going to put him on a dog stand and he'll jump up on there and be all happy and he pops off, cool, hop back up, man. And that 1 second turns into 3 seconds, turns into 40 seconds, turns into a minute, turns into 5-10 minutes. And now I'm walking another dog around him and he's got to stay sitting there. And you'll wash your truck and he's sitting there and he just learns that. And you don't take it all in one bite. I mean, it's like a couple months of just practice.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they just go, this is my spot. Every time I get off it, he puts me back on here. And you can scale corrections, right? So when he's a little baby, you just put him back up. Yeah, good dog. Give him a treat. Nice job, bud. And when he's 10 months old and he doesn't want to stay on there anymore, I can make a correction to make it less fun to be off of it and really good. Love on him. Tell him he's a great dog when he's on it.
You just start hitting him with baseball bats when he jumps off.
Yeah, basically that's the game plan.
Yeah. So it's all reward. Like risk, like not risk reward. Jesus.
Well, a little bit. Like they're as they get good at it, and you understand that they understand what you're asking them. Then you can apply a correction and say that wasn't right. Yeah. This is, and he goes, it's way better when I'm up here.
Yeah.
So I have a 2-part question. Do you have a age limit where you just say, look, a dog at this age is too old for that particular program? And then what's the worst case scenario that you've ever had to work with where you received a dog and it was just the most difficult? Like what's the best sort of I don't know, glow up,
okay, I got you.
Like from worst case to absolute rock star.
Do you want to bleep out the fact that you said glow up?
No, I'm proud of it. And anybody who has a problem, can.
Gus has kids, so he's hip. He's hip with
so hip.
Yeah, no cap, as they say.
No cap.
Cool AF.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. It's cool AF, bro.
Yeah. All right. So 2-parters kill me because I forget the first one already. First one was.
Do you have an age? Like
gap.
Age. That's where it's a cutoff.
Back in the day, there was, if the check cleared, I'd train it.
Yep.
But I do find that dogs that are 3, 4, 5 and up,
sure,
man, they've got so many bad habits that it takes me longer to fix.
Yeah, of course.
And so when you say it's a 4-month program, that might be more like a 6-month program. And a lot of those folks don't want to bite off that.
Yeah.
Especially not when they've already had the dog for 3 years.
That's
2
exactly
years.
right.
Yeah.
Not that it can't be done, but those are the people I'd say like, hey, I built a YouTube channel so that you can watch and I have a Patreon account that you can call me and I will help you.
That's a great
idea. That might be where you fall in and we'll build it slowly. Start from the beginning as if he's 8 weeks old and let's build from there. Knock those bad habits out and grow. But I don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
No offense. Or someone else could.
Just don't have the time. I mean,
I wouldn't want to do it either.
Yeah.
If I know it takes me 6 months to do something and then you throw this age factor in it, and now it's 8 months, I'm not really interested.
Or just like I've got a bunch of young dogs that I don't have to fix everything. And I know that this sounds bad. I mean, it's my job to train them, but I can't train 35 dogs. I can only train 30. So why not make those 30 the best chance I can?
Absolutely.
So that's kind of that answer. Back in the day when I was hungry and needed it,
sure,
you could totally train that dog, but it's harder.
Yeah.
We usually take dogs in at 6, 7, 8 months old.
Okay.
And their puppy teeth are out, they're bigger, and they have more attention span.
Okay.
So as long as folks kind of do the 8 weeks to 6 months to the best of their ability, they like to retrieve. They don't have to bring it all the way back to you. I don't care, but they like to go and do it. They like to swim. They are socially confident. So you can take them to places, take them on hikes, and they're not freaking out because the wind blew a stick off of a tree and they jump out of their skin.
Yeah.
A bold, confident, happy, outgoing retrieving machine, I'll hone the rest.
Yeah.
Dogs that, are, let's say 2 years old and they couldn't get that dog to swim. Well, what do you think I'm going to do? Make a miracle? I might be able to get it, but I might not. So don't waste your money.
Yeah. That's a natural instinct and a predator drive that
to go and get it.
You can't just necessarily, you can probably teach.
You can, but it's like sometimes
Are
can't.
you going to teach that while you're also teaching 29 other dogs? That's how fair is that to the other dogs?
That's
Right.
exactly right. Yeah, and then these are like the hard truths. Like it takes 3 times as long to train a bad dog as it does a good dog. Why not just train good ones?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like if someone's listening to this and go, I've been thinking about getting a duck dog. How do I go about finding the right one? Like don't go through the newspaper and pick out it's an AKC papered Labrador. Right? You want to do a little bit more deep dive into that. So parents and grandparents who ran those hunt tests and field trials have proven themselves that they're capable, competent, athletic, like to do it, willing to work with someone and do it as a team. All those things are cool. Especially Labradors, they've been bred so much that some of them have been bred to just like lay on this couch and be your buddy and not do anything.
Yeah.
And so their retrieve drive, their prey drive, their willingness to swim, all that stuff has slowly been just not what has been bred for. They've been bred for looks and chilling out, service dog type of thing, thought process that they aren't necessarily going to be the best candidate for being a duck dog. They still can be, especially when raised right, but you might be fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah.
Where if you get one whose parents and grandparents are already in it, you're stacking the deck in your favor that you're going to blindly pull a puppy out of that thing and he's going to go and grab that toy and bring it back, around you, and you keep doing it a few times and all of a sudden he's like, oh, this is awesome. And a natural instinct light bulb clicks and you've got a little mini retriever.
That's one thing that a lot of people don't get is about the genetics of the dog and the makeup. Like we were talking earlier about just our makeup from our past. And it's a totally real thing. We were at the marsh. We went to hang out with a guy who's got some marsh tackies last weekend, and he is a Kangal.
Oh, dang, son.
Right. 175 pounds. And he was like, don't look at it. Don't touch it. Don't do anything. So that dog no one in that dog's bloodline has ever been a house pet. It just he doesn't have it in him.
No.
So when that dog was born, its parents taught it, like, these goats, these cows, these babies are your babies. You take care of them. So it doesn't matter what comes near it. He'll kill it. Like anything, human, animal,
dog,
goats,
coyote,
chickens, anything comes near those cows, he's gonna. But he also knows how to run the cows instinctually. Like he can see a danger and he'll corral them up into a circle, get all the cows into a circle, and he'll stand in the middle and just watch between their legs and see what comes. It's like, nobody really trained the dog to do that. It's in its DNA. It knows to do it. Its parents showed him how to do it. And so they bought a dog from that place with those skill sets. But it's like people think they could just go buy a dog. Yeah, that's a Kangal.
I've never seen one. I'd never heard that.
They're
dog before.
massive.
That's wild.
So
they're massive, and they, like you said, they're damn near a wild
vicious
animal.
Yeah. And they have all these tufts of skin on their neck for specifically, well, I don't know. I'm not saying that's what it's for, but they use it for fighting coyotes. Coyotes cannot penetrate their necks. Like they just can't. They get in there and start biting on them, and they just tear them apart.
They just tear them apart, but they're not getting at the vitals.
Yeah,
exactly. And then the real hardcore folks have leather collars that are like 4 inches, 6 inches wide with spikes on them. So when that predator comes in to bite them, they just get nailed by the spikes, and the dog's protected like a little sheet of armor.
Good Lord!
But most dogs today,
do your Sparta one.
Yeah, do the Sparta. I think it's the green one. Yeah.
This is madness. This is Sparta.
Yeah, there you go. That's a Kangal.
That's a Kangal.
Yeah,
yeah. But he's got we were looking at Caucasian shepherds for like if we moved out to the middle of nowhere, or but it's like those types of dogs, you're not getting them to sit on the couch. Like that's not an inside dog. They have a duty.
Yeah.
And the problem that I've noticed with the retrievers is a lot of people have them and Labradors, things like that, and they're like, oh yeah, he's a duck dog. It's like, no, he's not. He's a sit on the couch, do absolutely nothing, has no prey drive, like your dog. Your dog would never.
I have a chocolate lab that
she would
100% was purchased because
she's a great pet.
Yeah, good pet.
Great pet. Yep. And she's been a great family dog. She loves to fetch. She loves to retrieve. Very early on when she was a puppy, we got her 8 weeks. We got her a toy duck. And
yes, clearly a duck dog.
Yeah, of course. So she's clearly a duck dog. I just choose not to use. No. Yeah. But like you could see that prey drive at 8 weeks. Yeah. Like I tossed it and she was like, she went and got it and brought it back. And I was like, well, it's wild. Like I had never experienced that before, but it's very clear how like if we had chosen to turn that dog, and I talked with my wife about it. I was like, we can have a really great hunting dog, or we can have a great family dog. but it's hard sometimes to have both.
I would argue against that.
And that's fine. And
Yeah.
my only argument was I didn't feel at the time that we as a family collectively would have been consistent enough in our training and to maintain it. But
That's
maybe
why I
I'm
have a
completely
job.
wrong.
Yeah. No, so I think that's a very common question that I get, right?
Yeah.
Can the dog be in the house with me? Can the dogs, they want it to sleep on the couch. Well, guess where my dogs sleep with? Like, they're on the couch with me. Once they earn it, right? I don't let dogs on the couch when they're 8 weeks old. When they earn
the
privilege and understand that I invite you up, you don't just choose. Because if we're having a podcast and this dog's up in my ears the whole time, it's unacceptable. If I snap my fingers and touch it, okay, they bump up and do it. So that's why I wait until they're older. But the point is, my whole crew that are winning field trials and stuff, they come in the house. So you can have that balance. And in fact, I'd even argue that they're more disciplined and under control and can turn it on and turn it off because of the level of training they get. And then the other major question I get is, will my dog remember me after the 4 months? It's like, absolutely. It'll go bananas when it sees you. It's gonna be like Homeward Bound.
We lost when I was a kid, we had dumb story, but we had two puppies. They were American Eskimos, the big fluffy white dogs. We got two of them, a boy and a girl that came from the same litter. The boy showed some aggression. My dad didn't like it. Found it to somebody else, whatever.
Sure.
We ended up like 8 weeks later attending the same without knowing the same fundamentals of behavior or whatever, like basic discipline,
like a class or something.
Yeah, just a group class, and they were there, and that dog went ape shit and like ran across the room to us, to our family.
Oh, no way.
It broke my heart, dude. I bawled like a little kid because it was supposed to be the female dog. Their names were Bella and Bo, and they're supposed to be like a his and hers for my sister and I.
Sure.
And so I had to give mine away because this whole thing, whatever. And so it ran across the room to me, and dude, crushed me. I was like, I hated my dad for that for a long time.
Yeah, that sucks, dude.
Anyways, we never got to the other part. I want to hear a story of a dog that came to you.
Glow up.
An absolute shit sandwich, and you turned it into a baller dog.
Let's do this one. Let's do this one more time.
I got to think on it.
Yeah, we'll give you time to think. Top left.
Just the sip.
Okay. If you've never heard this segment before, we take a sip.
All right.
Tell us what you think. I'll go first.
Which one was that whole?
Okay, so I'll tell us what it is first. This is the Booker's 2022-01 Ronnie's batch. This is January of 2022, Ronnie's batch. I've never had this one before. Same guy gave me the last one, gave me this one. Smells delicious. Spicy.
I've had this before. I don't know if I've had the exact one, but I've had it. Booker's at least.
Yeah, they do several releases a year.
Yeah.
It's funny. Do you remember when we bought one? Like, we bought one years ago
time ago.
Before we got into and learned to appreciate whiskey, and we were like,
"This is terrible. It's the first shit I ever drank."
Awful.
Yeah. That's what I remember of it being.
Oh yeah,
like
this one's definitely hot. I will say the best bourbon I've ever had was a Booker's batch. It's called the Bardstown batch, and it's a red label. It came out last year, I think, middle of last year. I bought 3. I bought one and loved it, and bought every single one I could find.
Cool.
And I have one left, and I think that's my. You have terminal cancer. That's the one I'm going to open.
Interesting.
It's so good.
Not if you have to, or I. Have
not
to.
if you.
No, just if he does.
If I get.
It's not good enough for that.
I might would open it with you if you get terminal cancer. I would never put that on you, Ricky Bobby, but.
But fuck me, right?
That's awesome. All right, did you try?
You can have some. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I'm gonna go. It's spicy. It's got a great nose. It does smell like peanut to me. So this is 2 peanut batches in a row.
It is hot, dude. Look at the legs on that.
Yeah, thick.
Yeah, that's much for me.
Yeah,
that's my sentence. That needs an ice cube for me.
Yeah, 100%. I'm actually gonna have you put some water in it, but I'm gonna get you the water.
Okay.
So did you find your story?
Yeah, dude. There's been plenty that came in, and I will caveat this with I kid around, but I say it in a joking way that I can't make a filet mignon out of a shit sandwich. Okay.
It's fair.
So, all right, Here we go. He's got a dropper. You guys are the most professional I've
that's
ever seen. He just put 3 droplets from an eyedropper into my glass.
but that's Kentucky limestone water.
Oh my
So it doesn't it
It won't make it taste watered down. It actually
Yeah.
melds with it, and it actually lowers the proof and it changes the profile.
So now take a sip and
Now
I'll
take a sip.
retalk.
I'm gonna go too.
Oh, that made it way better.
Right? It changes it so much. It's so crazy.
Yeah, and I hate to say better. I didn't dislike the first one, but my palate for bourbons is like I like to have a glass or a ice cube in it.
That was correct.
That was way
that is
smoother.
way warmer. It like spread slowly over my tongue.
Yeah.
It changes the palate entirely.
It opened it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've gotten so good at doing the dropper thing. I could drink something and I can tell what 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drops is going to do.
No
3
way.
drops is about as most as I'll go on a small Glen like this, but
Yeah, it opened it up where it wasn't as harsh.
yeah,
You
it's
know.
wild.
Yeah, that was cool. You guys are the real deal. So that's cool as shit. All right, so
We know a thing or two because we've drank a thing or two.
There you go.
Should be a
I dig it.
shirt.
Nice. That should be a shirt.
do it. Write that down. Put it in somebody's notes right now.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Nailed it. All right. So I remember one dog, I would say it was last year or the year before I brought down here, and they didn't do anything. I had bred the dog and I knew what its parents were,
Mhm.
and I knew that it had it in it. But it looks like it had been astray, like scared of me, scared of being on a leash, scared of the other dogs, scared of the water, scared of a duck, scared of a bumper. Petrified. Like they didn't
Yeah.
do jack. I don't even know where the dog lived. Like, how do you not? And I'm sitting there going, this is extremely frustrating because I bred the dog and knew it had potential.
Yeah.
And then I get it back and I'm like, this looks like a straight up rescue,
Yeah.
petrified of the world. And it turned out slowly, but it turned out to be a badass. It took 6 or 8 weeks to get it in the water.
Oh, really?
And so I'm sitting there and it's a 4-month program. So I'm halfway through the program and it won't swim.
Oof.
I got it better with birds and I got it better with bumpers and, other things, but like gunfire introduction, right?
Yeah.
If it doesn't like to retrieve, it's kind of hard to do gunfire introduction. And that might be a good segment because my number one goal in life is to stop getting phone calls or text messages that I have a gun shy dog, because gun shyness is man-made, they don't come out of the womb that way.
Right.
So we'll go over that in a second. But this dog, you're thinking about, well, how am I going to introduce it, get it into a boat if it can't even walk on a leash? Like, how am I going to? So it made me think outside the box. It made me train a little bit different. It made me train the dog in front of me, think outside of the box. And that's one other thing I coach people on is your dog is different than my dog and my dog is different than that dog. I have to train them all. And so the maybe technique, the theory, all that stuff is around the same, but I'm going to talk to that dog different than I talk to that dog. I'm going to touch that dog different than I touch this dog. And I'm going to use its strengths and pull the instincts out. And I might have to subdue some of the instincts in this crazy horse right here.
Sure.
So it's dog dependent and a lot of answers. But this dog, it was like, I don't know how I'm going to make this a duck dog if I can't even get it to do the basics
Get in
of
the
it.
water.
Yeah, what my 12-week-old puppies are doing, I can't even get it to do that. So that was probably one of the greatest achievements in, the last year or two that I can think of. I can think of another one that came in gun shy. It was a German short hair, wanted a pointing dog, super nice older guy, and he took it like it's a short hair. It should point and be cool. He took it hunting. It had never been trained to ever. He just,
He just thought I was going to do it.
Yeah, he just thought he was going to do it. And it didn't point, but a rooster goes up, boom, he rolls it, and she rolls back to the truck.
Yeah.
I mean, gone, baby.
Yeah.
And so she was gun shy. She wasn't gun shy. She was sensitive and didn't understand what the heck that sound was and it
Yeah.
scared the crap out of her.
Of course it did.
So once I was able to, I didn't do a gun with her forever, but she learned how to point. She learned that this stuff was fun. She started to have some drive. All of her natural instincts started coming out. And then way off in the distance, I popped off a 22 blank pistol way away. And it didn't phase her. She kept chasing and playing and pointing and do another bird. Points it, release it, chases it, bang. A little bit closer, bring that gun a little bit closer. So that's the same way I do it with a retriever.
Okay.
You start the gunfire in a small caliber, so a 22, way off. I'm 200 yards away.
Oh, wow.
If you've got a real sensitive dog,
Oh, wow. So it
200
sounds
yards
like
away.
a snap.
Yep. Just a little pop.
No big deal.
Wow.
No big deal. and you're watching that dog and you're playing with it with a retrieve. You've built retrieve drive in this dog. I don't do it with an 8-week-old puppy. Wait till it's 5-6 months old, and you've developed retrieve drive, and it's chasing that bumper full tilt. And as it's halfway to it, so it's full head of steam, running, breathing, focused on that bumper, it hears, and then, right, little by little, you're bringing it closer and closer. And if the dog pops and looks and is like, what was that? And you can kind of see it's a little nervous, give them a couple freebies, no sound, and back the gun back up. Okay.
Just kind of work that groove until it's comfortable.
Yep.
And then you continue.
And then build back in a little closer and a little closer until maybe it's 3 or 4 sessions, a week of this, like slowly bringing it in, and you can shoot that 22 and throw the bumper, it's chasing, bang, and it's like right next to it. Cool. Doesn't do anything weird, body language, drive, everything stays focused on its job. Now go get your, I don't do this, but get your 410, go get your 20 gauge, go get your 12 gauge. Just do it nice and slow. But we just jumped to 20 gauge or to the 12 gauge, and you just start far away and you bring it in and bring it in and bring it in, and you're building drive. Like there's people that'll put a food bowl on the ground and crack a round off. Dude, if we are sipping this bourbon and a gunshot goes off in your kitchen, you're going to shit your pants, aren't you? Me too.
I'll be in there pretty quick.
Yeah, but you're shitting. You got some squirters coming out. Okay. So that dog is too. So you're not using natural instincts in drive. Like literally saying in drive, that dog is doing something. It's moving. It's creating noise around it, breathing, running through grass, huffing and puffing, and being focused. And it loves what it's doing. And you're correlating that sound with the thing it loves.
Yeah.
And you build into that 12 gauge real close, and dude, done. You're good.
Yeah.
And then I also say, when you take your dog on your first duck hunt, you don't go to a hunt with 6 or 7 guys shooting.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That dog,
That's
even
too
though
much.
it's too much. You've taught the dog it's good with gunfire, but it hasn't had, what's 6 times 3? 18?
18.
18 gunshots going off over top of the head.
Yeah.
Ever.
Sure.
And it still has, even though you've trained it, it still hasn't correlated that Mother Nature is going to send a little duck flying through the air and come towards your decoys and land and get shot 18 times.
Yeah.
Take 2 guys who are patient and good shooters, and they're going to pop 2 or 3 rounds and knock that bird down. So the dog starts going, oh, light bulb moment again.
Oh, I see.
What we were doing all summer.
Yeah.
This is what
This is the
actually
real
how
thing.
it
This is the
happens.
thing.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
So that sound is like someone throwing a bird, and I get to go get it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes
Instead
sense.
of 18 of those sounds, and it's going, I don't see anything. I don't have a retrieve coming, because they haven't really put 2 and 2 together. After 6 or 10, ducks, now they're going to start looking at the sky. They're going to start understanding that this is what we trained for.
Yeah.
And you can add a few more guns and you'll be okay.
That's got to be awesome to witness, like just to watch the dog.
that
be
light
like,
bulb moment when they
oh
realize,
shit,
like,
okay, so he's not throwing it anymore.
That's
the
right.
sky's throwing it.
Yes.
And that boom sound makes it fall, and then I can go get it.
Yeah. You've probably seen the little videos where the dog's like half asleep in the duck blind. They click the safety off and it pops up and it's like go time.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the coolest thing.
That's
And
awesome.
like we, for whatever reason, I say like, it's on the left or get ready.
Yeah.
Something like that where you change. You're not just bullshitting like we are now in the duck blind, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, get ready.
Yeah.
Dude, that dog goes, nothing's going, nothing. It's go, oh, shit's going on.
Yeah.
And it's like go time, man. And they're just so diligent. The ones that I love are the ones that you can be doing whatever and it never stops looking. Those are the cool dogs.
Yeah.
They're just hyper focused, watching the sky, looking behind them, listening. They can hear the wing beats before you do. And it's like, boom. And you're like, oh, this dog sees them. Here they come. Come on.
it's
Quack,
always,
quack, 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 quack.
Dude, that'd be so cool. I've never been duck hunting before where you could see where the dog saw it before we did.
yeah.
Really?
No, I've seen videos too, like the dogs that are waiting and they're like shaking in
Oh, yeah, I've seen
anticipation.
that. Yeah,
I've
yeah.
got one
My
whose
wife's
teeth
like,
chatter
looks,
like,
it looks cold. I was like, it's not cold.
It's not cold.
It's
losing its mind.
It's freaking out wanting to do something right now.
her mouth will pop and you can hear her teeth clatter. Like, yeah, exactly. It's freaking
That's so
sick.
cool.
It's
That's
so
awesome.
sick.
Do you use these dogs on like guided hunts, or it's just you?
So I don't guide hunts. That's why my company's called Lone Duck. I don't kill plenty of ducks. I kill a few, not a lot, right? I kid around because when I get asked if I'm a guide, because Lone Duck Outfitters, I used to think I was going to be like Cabela's, the world's foremost outfitter. I was going to be that for the gun dog world, right? Didn't pan out.
Still could. You got time.
Yeah, that's true. Great point. Very optimistic. But
Try to be.
Yeah, exactly. But that's kind of where that name came from. So I don't guide. I've gone on guided hunts where you do have that volume of shooters, and my dogs will run and work for the guys a little bit. But for the most part, it's like me and my buddies, or me and my brother and dad, we're going hunting.
Yeah.
And I'll take training clients with me here and there, but I would much, dude, if I turned hunting into my job, like I turned my passion of dog training, that's a different ball game. So
100%.
I don't want to wake up at 3:30 in the morning, make you coffee, and take you duck hunting, kill 4 ducks, and you go, this sucks, right? Like,
also, I need you to skin these for me because I've never touched a dead duck before.
right? You know, it's just,
or better yet, I don't want to eat.
I don't know.
ducks, that's why.
oh, that chaps my ass.
Fuck you, man.
Yeah, dude, that chaps my ass. So, no, I duck hunt for fun. I take friends. I take my family.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
It's important to have those boundaries for sure.
Yeah. I thought about it back in the day for supplemental income, and I'm glad I didn't do it.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't either because it would have ruined. It probably would have killed your drive to make these dogs because you're like, all I'm doing is making these dogs to then take people hunting that don't know how to hunt, and then I'm basically their slave all weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I still love what I do training dogs, but it is a job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like being a farmer. You're a slave to a live animal.
Yeah.
And so vacations, you know, the first 5 or 6 years of business didn't really happen.
Yeah.
You know, so now that we have employees and I've got a good team that's trustworthy, I can go away for a week and feel like, you know, I'm not going to come home to a problem. But that doesn't mean I'm, you know, other people who have 5 weeks vacation and go on 5 vacations a year. Nah, that doesn't happen.
I don't know anyone that does that. You know people that do that?
I do.
That's wild.
Yeah.
5 vacations a year?
Spoiled.
Fuck, dude. I mean, I'll take like a weekend and disappear, but
sure. But even that is hard.
yeah, it's true.
Right. Even that, when you've got living, breathing animals that need to go to the bathroom and need to eat.
Yeah.
Even if they're not getting trained for 3 days, that's not the end of the world. But they need to be let out and cared for and make sure that everybody's okay.
Sure.
Do you keep them like in a barn or like a run or what is it?
Yeah. So my setup is in the growing stages, right? I bought a farm 3 years ago on 50 acres, and we had a horse barn. So 9 horse stalls, and a big field that we ended up fencing in to, you know, kick the dogs loose, and they're fenced in.
Turn the dogs out.
Yep.
Instead of horses.
Yeah. We air our dogs out.
Yeah.
So I can pull my truck and trailer. I've got a 18-hole gooseneck trailer with a 4-wheeler pad on it. And then 2 dogs can be in the bed of my truck. And then, you know, I'll have like 3 in the back seat and roll out. But so I can turn around, park it in the airing yard, close the gate behind me, kick the dogs loose. They can run around, like have fun, put them up in the barn. But the barn right now they're in essence in large crates, and it's clean, it's sanitary, it's safe, it's warm, it's dry, it's all the things that dog needs. And then basically 10, 12 hours a day, they're going to work.
Yeah.
So they go to sleep in there and they get up and go to work. Ideally, we will reconcrete it and put kennel runs in it, but there's problems with that too. So there's no great way.
Yeah.
You just, as long as they're dry, warm, safe, comfortable, you're good to go.
Yeah.
And they get worked.
How do you heat the barn?
So it's pretty insulated, and that's also why we come south.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you don't have to worry about it too much getting too cold down
By
there.
the time I get down here, you're getting to the point where it's like they might be chilly.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've also, you know, global warming's real. I don't know. I don't really know. I'm just kidding. But at least in New York, it's not that bad until January, February nowadays, where when I was a kid, you know, we were trick-or-treating in snowsuits, freezing.
I don't know what's happening, but I will say it floods here way more than it used to.
Oh, stuff's happening.
So it's like, I mean,
I don't know if it's,
we weren't
going to talk.
I know we
swore we weren't going to,
but I'm not gonna. I don't know that it's my truck causing it or hairspray or if it's just a cyclical thing that this planet goes through.
That's
I don't know
what I think it is.
But I do agree that the water levels are definitely higher than these.
Well, I mean, even just talking hunting, right?
I saw it today. It was flooded. Everything you probably did driving.
Oh yeah, driving in. Yeah, I don't know how people
underwater.
in a small like little Beamer or something could get through there.
That's what I mean. Everything's underwater. I don't know. My wife's upstairs in the bedroom because she's like she wanted to go somewhere, and I was like, I don't think you're able to get out.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, we could see it in hunting. Like,
yeah,
I feel like the rut is happening a little bit later, and I like to deer hunt. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that if you guys want to.
Sure.
Hear
Deer
some,
hunting. I don't know.
hear some slants of the lone deer on my property.
Yeah,
Those are some good stories.
Yeah.
I'm down.
But yeah, that's like things are changing. Our duck season is the same time frame, but it's not getting colder up north, so they're not migrating as
Sure.
early. And like
Yeah.
we see changes in the animals,
Of
and
course.
so whatever. That's kind of my. It's not political. It's just real life.
Right.
That's just what you're
100%.
seeing.
Yeah,
what
it's
you're
just what we're
experiencing.
seeing.
Yeah, I'm saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab another beer. Does anybody want?
Yeah, buddy.
Sure.
Not scared.
And then we can talk deer hunting.
Lone deer.
Lone deer kennels doesn't quite have the same doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But so, like I was saying, I have a 50-acre farm.
Yep.
Most of it's pasture. So the front
Yeah.
couple acres is where the horses were. Then I've got a block of pine, a little creek that runs through it,
Okay.
and then about 30-ish acres. Thank you, sir. 30-ish acres of my back pasture, which is now retriever training grounds. Built a pond back there.
Yeah.
Put some hay bales out there and run trail cameras. Do you guys do trail cameras?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So trail cameras, and my property tends to be the property that they come to at night
Okay.
and then leave before daylight. Right. So like hunting in the morning sucks.
Sure,
You almost
yeah.
never see deer in the morning on
Yep.
morning sets.
Got the same problem here.
Yeah. It's very much a evening set.
Yep.
And 30 minutes before shooting light,
It's
you know,
prime time.
it's kind of prime time.
I can't
Anything
tell you how
can
many
happen.
times like get into a stand early just because I don't want to be disturbing stuff. But I know that if I'm in a bow stand, I know I'm sitting down and napping
That
until
was a big gulp, by the way. It
Until-
looks smaller.
until like 30 minutes before, like you said, before dark. That's prime. And I killed every deer this last year within that 30-minute window before dark.
Yeah, that's how we are.
He did that one time we were at Old Forester, the distillery, and he took too big of a drink and was like, or whatever. And this lady stood up and was like, what did she say? Something like,
Is it
I thought
first time.
first time.
I remember my first
I wanted to be like, bitch, I have tasted and tried more whiskey
Yeah.
than you could probably fathom.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk real quick before we get into deer hunting segment. Sound it, but which one did you like better?
The first one.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I like the second one with the water added.
With the
to it.
second one with the water, yeah, but straight off the bottle.
up the first one
The first one was
for
better.
sure.
I agree.
Second one was really good. It was like a spicy peanut. It's like, I don't know. I love the peanut thing that comes out of some of that stuff.
I didn't taste peanut, but maybe I'm not that eloquent or
It's one of the hardest. It's so nutty flavor.
It's a nutty, dusty.
It's one of the hardest
flavor.
flavors to pick up.
Interesting.
It's like one day you'll get one that's a lot of nut, and then you'll be like, oh, and then you'll never forget it.
It's kind of weird as if you burp, you can kind of taste it better.
Yeah.
I'm being serious.
I am too. Yeah.
I tried a white dog earlier, just a clear, unaged, right off the still, and I burped twice and I still taste it. So
The smoky one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave me one that they smoked it in like a where they smoke ham. They put this white dog, this corn in there,
Mm-hmm.
and then they distilled it, and the smoke comes through like crazy.
Cool.
But I was letting them try two different companies that both make.
They both make a claim.
They both claim that they do something, and I think only one of them actually does. I think the other
Interesting.
one's lying. And what's
Interesting.
funny is the one that is actually doing it. They don't really even advertise that they're doing it.
But the
The other
one,
company is like, we do this every time, all the time, and I don't think
it's their identity.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're full of shit.
I don't think they're doing it.
I think they're full of shit. I'll let you taste
Wow.
it. Like it's just a tiny little. You'll be like, okay, one of these has a ton of flavor and the other one doesn't, and the one that has a ton of flavor is not 100% that type of corn.
Interesting.
So it's like the one that's 100% that type of corn should be almost unpalatable, but it does not.
Huh.
They're not. Yeah, I think they're lying. But I mean, you'll never know, right? No idea.
Screw it.
I'll tell you about it when it's over.
Nobody
Yeah.
knows.
Sounds good. So, anyways, that's how we hunt our farm. The first year. So also, which is weird, I don't think you guys have to deal with this. We have zones.
Mhm.
In my zone, doe tags are hard to come by.
It's like South Carolina.
No, in New York.
Oh, New York. Okay. Yeah, we definitely don't have that problem here.
Right, which is nice. So my zone, if you have 50 acres, you get a doe tag, one doe tag. I have 49.624289.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like
Good
a
Lord.
quarter of an acre off
God
of getting a doe
damn.
tag. So I have to go into this lottery. First year I didn't get one. All I saw was doe. Never saw a buck. Second year, I killed a buck chasing does in the afternoon. It was awesome. His name is Nubby. Never saw him on camera before,
Yeah.
but I, after killing him, named him Nubby. He had a screwed up like stump on one side and then a nice 4 banger on the other. Nubby. Never seen one since. Cool. Till this year. Almost every deer a buck on my camera now is a nub.
What?
They might have like
offspring.
well, or probably not his offspring, but like they're all related, right? Like
Yeah.
think about breeding dogs. If this
Yeah.
like the doe has genetics too.
They're all being exposed to
That
whatever
genetic.
the same thing that's impacting that genetic growth.
That's right.
Because the growth is often determined by a number of things, and a lot of people like to say it's just genetics or it's just this, but it's a combination of genetics, sometimes injuries, nutrition. There's so much that impacts that. So if they're all looking the same, there's something going on, and it's
100%.
probably not injury if it's all of them. So it's probably
Yeah, they can't all have an injury.
Yeah.
it's probably nutrition related or genetic or a combination of genetics and nutrition.
That's kind of my
Fascinating.
thought. So
Yeah.
so we were talking about, people be like, well, you got to get those genetics out of your system. It's like, bro, you can't.
You can't
Because
control
his
that.
sister, there's 2 fawns to a
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
year. His sister's carrying the same genes he is.
Yeah.
She gets bred next year,
And you can't
and
kill
she has a
enough.
buck. Yeah, you can't kill them all.
Also, those bucks during the rut, the studies have shown they can travel upwards of like 50 plus miles of their normal range.
All the ones they
during the
did
rut.
in that spot in Indiana, they were 60 to 80 miles. They were traveling.
Yeah.
Like within a week.
Yeah.
So
which
how do
is
you
phenomenal.
you can't control that?
Nope.
This isn't a farm or a high fence thing. Like you can't control where these deer go.
100%.
Yeah, that's
So you'll know. I'll
crazy.
almost always have
yeah.
nubbies.
Unless you
and
don't
also
abide by the law.
you probably
Nah, ain't happening.
you probably could talk to hunters in nearby areas that are 30, 40 miles. And I would guarantee you they're seeing the same. They're seeing similar deer.
I bet you're right. It's just wild to see. Like I didn't have a lot of buck on camera my first year living there, and I've gotten better at finding trails and working the property because there's not much woods. It's mostly pasture.
Yep.
So that creek bed became like where I'd start to see movement and track them and do my thing, right? So I got more on camera over the last 2 years, and there's a few that have normal racks, and then like there's a spike with 1 spike.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, it's just they're nubbies. So
It's
Lone
wild.
Nubby now.
It's a weird gene. Lone Nubby, that's the new company.
That's the new company. So
Lone
that's my deer hunting company.
Lone Nubs. Lone Nubs.
Yeah. I like Lone Nubs. I'd come there for that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a depredation tag.
I'd wear that shit.
Yeah. Whack them and stack them.
Lone
Nubs.
LoneNubs.com.
We used to know a guy that had an outdoor company, and he used his one of his shirts had a deer that was, strung up,
Uh-huh.
and it said, "We always get our meat up."
And
I thought
this podcast is awesome.
if you could find something like that for Lone Nubs, like
Yeah, dude.
we're straight nubbing, nub life.
Yeah, nub life.
Nub life.
Nub life. Fantastic.
Sometimes you grow full, sometimes you get a nub. It's like
Yeah.
when life gives you a nub.
Love nubs.
Yeah, love nubs. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my farm. So
For anybody with the bandwidth and extra time, we just laid out an entire
Yeah, you got a bunch of names right there.
we got a lot of merch. Come on.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Do you design your merch or you pay somebody?
I come up with the idea and then I pay
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know how to do anything. I just have funny sayings or funny ideas and say, put that on a shirt, please.
Yeah.
And they do it and I say yes or no.
Do you do drop shipping or like you have inventory?
We did drop shipping for years. And so do you guys do that too?
There's no money in
some
it.
stuff.
There's literally no money in drop shipping.
Yeah, but I mean, $5 is better than zero.
That's true.
100%.
That's true.
And so we do for some of our apparel because
Most of our apparel is drop shipping.
well, another store for another time. We owned a
sure.
company previously, and that was an apparel company.
Mhm.
And when we started this company, we vowed never to spend the amount of money we did.
That's
for-
why
for-
we don't
for,
inventory.
for inventory because we spent a lot of money on inventory that was really hard to recoup.
A lot of it ended up at Goodwill.
Been there, done that.
Yeah,
bud.
and so we didn't want to do that again. And so because apparel is not a huge part of our business, we drop ship most of it.
The thing too is
Yeah.
people don't think about is sizing. Like if I say
100%.
most people are extra large, so I buy 100 extra larges, I buy 20 larges, 10 mediums, and then like 5 years later, I still have 10 mediums.
Yep.
Like no one's buying, so I have 10 shirts. So I can't, those are low numbers, but we had hundreds of mediums.
Yeah, dude.
And it's like, what am I going to do with hundreds of mediums? That
I did the same
costs
thing.
us $30, $40 a shirt. We're selling
I went
performance fishing gear.
all in. I almost said it. I went all in on China.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I went hardcore. Like I didn't know what I was doing, and so you could order a plethora of performance. So again, I'm thinking the gun dog world. They're all wearing cotton. We're all training in
Yeah.
the summer heat. Let's
Yeah.
go performance
shirts.
gear.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I went to China, ordered a ton, spent, and I didn't have any money. Like I still don't have a shitload of money. Like I ain't rich.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody,
Same.
yeah, we aren't rich.
Just regular guy.
Just regular guys
Just
doing
regular
our
guy.
thing.
Yeah.
Figuring it out.
Trust me,
Figuring
if
it
I
out.
was rich, I don't know that I'd be doing podcasts.
Nah, we're drinking and having fun. I do
Yeah,
a
that's
podcast
true.
still,
That's true. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take
Yeah.
that back. I take that
for
back.
sure.
Probably not slinging t-shirts though.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not making $5 a shirt if I was rich.
That's right.
That's 100%.
that's right. So, long story short, send this order to China, and I spent like all my money.
Yeah.
Really going all in on the dream, right? They came back. The material that they sent me in the samples was real nice. The material I got on those shirts,
Different.
not nice.
Yeah.
The designs were screwed up. And I had my whole life savings at 25 or whatever
Yeah.
gone, and I had to sling them.
Yeah.
And dude, I just sent like the last of it to the Goodwill. It's like, screw it. Just
Yeah.
It's
done
also
there.
like
So,
when we
Write it
get
off.
apparel companies, if you're thinking of starting one, listen to this
Don't.
podcast.
don't do it.
Don't do it. There's ways to do it that are better than others, but you ain't getting rich unless you're the
Yeah.
best. And
Yeah.
it's like going into the NFL.
That's
Only
a-
a few people ever get to.
And you
it.
never know what your product's going to be. Like we bought a run of hats last year, and they showed up, and like we can't sell them. We gave them away at SEWE. I mean, just there's nothing I can do. Say you bought something, I just throw in a
Yeah.
hat, and I showed everybody why I can't sell them. It's all it was. There was an orange box that went around whiskey and whitetails, and that orange box on the top, the line wasn't straight. It was like this squiggly because they embroider it on
Sure.
a cone, not on a flat piece,
Mhm.
and so the line wasn't straight.
Yeah.
I can't sell it.
No.
I refuse to sell something online that shows up and the line's not straight. No, most people wouldn't notice,
Couldn't agree more.
but I can't do it. So it's like, how many times we've done that, ordering apparel and it shows up and we're like, fuck, we have 100 of these.
Yeah.
What am
I
I
know.
going to do?
Nothing. Write it off.
Yeah. Write it
And
off.
writing it off is not a good answer.
It's you
you
because
still
you're
take
not
the hit.
truly writing it off.
It's still a loss.
You're not getting 100% off the
You don't have
write-off
to-
is the point.
You don't have to
Exactly.
eat all of it.
That's
Yeah.
also a life lesson I learned in my first year of business.
Oh yeah. That is
Yeah,
writing
well, I
off.
lost a lot. I didn't do good.
Dude, same. My
Yeah.
first year,
Oh, you can write it off.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I was like, I
Buy
had,
it all.
I think our first year I had $18,000 I wrote off.
And the dude's like, you made 4.
Right.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, he was like, I think I got $4,000 out of that 18,000.
Yeah, dude.
And I was like, holy shit, you don't get 100%. And he was like,
no. Yeah, I'm
That's
like,
not- that's
you
not
get
the
a
way it
percent-
why
works.
didn't they tell me this?
yeah, it's a write-off. And it reminds me
Yes.
of that show.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
It's a write-off. Do you even know what that means? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a write-off.
Yeah, it's a write-off.
You write it off. Therefore, it's no
What do
longer.
you think that means? I don't know. You write it
Yeah,
off.
Yeah.
You get 100% back from the government.
Yeah,
No,
it
not
doesn't
true.
work that way.
No.
You get hosed.
Yeah, they make it sound appealing, but I think it's just so they have a reason to audit you.
You only get parts of it back, or percentages of it back, and
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
mess.
Depreciations and who
Yeah,
knows what all these
evaluation. First year evaluation, it was because I did it with my truck.
Mhm.
So because of it weighs over a ton, I was able to write off or whatever the weight limit is, 10,000 pounds.
Same.
I was able to write off the entire truck the first year.
Right.
However, I'm 4 years in now. I still have 3 years left of my loan. So
That's right.
Like I didn't actually get anything.
Yeah.
Like it helped my taxes out a
that
little
year.
bit. Yeah,
that year it
year.
helped, but the rest of the years you're screwed.
Yeah, the next 18 years, I got a mortgage on that truck. So
Yeah.
I was like, how long can I go? Because I can't afford it at a 4-year mortgage.
This podcast got hijacked by tax season.
Fuck taxes.
Brought
Yeah,
to you by Quick
H&R.
Simply- Yeah, Quick
Quick
Books.
Books, H&R Block, and
Fuck.
TurboTax.
I hate
Yeah.
taxes so much.
Yeah,
I had an idea to create like a Facebook, maybe not a Facebook, like a website where you just for bartering, you can't sell anything, can't sell or buy, just trade. And I didn't want it to be like, oh, I've got this old set of tires, but shit, like I make this or I produce this and I need this. So
Yeah.
like venison, I would trade venison for,
A
and
new
I don't know.
Tax
ATV
prep.
trailer.
Tax
Yeah.
prep.
Tax prep. Yeah.
Yeah.
A new ATV
Right.
trailer for 100 pounds of venison.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to be able to do that for like outdoorsy people. So it's like you go wings,
That'd be
like
cool.
you kill birds and then you have a reason now to skin them out because a lot of people junk them, but like you have a reason to take the meat and be like, what can I trade this for?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because there's so much of an outdoor space here and there's so many farms here and even people like fig trees. I got these figs. I cannot eat them all. I give all of them away. This tree produces so many figs. Like I take them to restaurants. I make simple
Really?
syrup out of it and drop it off at restaurants. Like here's some fig simple syrup, local James Allen fig simple syrup,
That's badass.
just, and it's like, they'll give me a free meal out of it. Worth it to me. All I did was pick them off the thing, and then I boiled them for a little while.
That your dog peed on.
Yeah, I don't have a dog, but yeah,
Maybe.
somebody peed on it.
Yeah.
It's
Me-
probably me.
me in
I
10
peed,
minutes.
I peed
Yeah,
on it.
me in 10 minutes.
100%.
Much more likely that Matt got drunk and peed on the tree than a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
The other
awesome.
thing too is I've been out there before, and there's been like too high for like a dog or something. But so I think deer. I don't know how the hell they're getting here, but I've had deer tracks underneath that tree.
Oh, I believe it.
I don't know how they're getting there because it's I'm in the middle of a neighborhood.
Yeah.
So they're like walking
Oh,
down the
they're here.
street to come to my fig tree,
Probably.
100%.
which is fascinating.
And you are an archer. We can make this happen.
That
That's
window,
why do you think I have a recurve right there?
That window right there, bro. I'd be
Yeah.
smoking deer.
This
Be
house
on
is
your
my
stairwell.
blind. Yeah.
Open the window.
I was thinking about putting a tree climber up there.
Epic.
Put a platform up there,
Epic.
and then I could get through the window.
All right, let me hijack the podcast.
Do it.
Do it.
I want to hear about last deer season best buck. I mean, maybe you've already talked
Oh.
about it, but I haven't heard it. So
He
best
shot-
buck or
he-
like fun moment in the woods.
Sure.
Hit it up.
You go first. You actually shot. I didn't shoot a buck last year.
So
You did.
neither of us really pay too much attention to anything other than the meat, and so I will typically kill younger does because they taste better. That being said, we had a podcast with Southeast Whitetail,
Mhm.
and we were talking about how depredation tags and just killing shit, and the differences between us and like a Wyoming or someone out west, an Ohio hunter or something like that.
That's not out west, but go on.
Well, someone that has huge
Out west
deer.
is Montana.
Well, Midwest,
Ohio.
Midwest, like Iowa, Wisconsin.
Yeah,
those,
people that have huge whitetail
those
deer.
big
Like we
deer.
don't have them here.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah,
a
yours are
guy,
little
a guy in Iowa to kill a big, 200 something pound buck with, 10, 12, 15, whatever, 10, 12, 15. I like how I went to 15.
That was nice.
Got a bunch of points on his head and like weighs a bunch. It looks good. Got mass and like boom crack. Like, everybody's all excited. That guy is not hunting any harder than I am. The difference is the quality of deer that we have here. We just don't have deer like that. We have scrub bucks, basket bucks, swamp bucks. I mean, sometimes you push up north in the low country, you get some bigger bucks, but down here on the coast, it's too damn hot. They just don't grow big. So we had a podcast and I was like, I'm going to, I never kill bucks, but I'm going to kill one this year. And what the whole reason behind it is I'm going to post a video of me holding it with my big ass hands. So his antler's going to look crazy small. And I'm going to basically say what I just said. So I killed an 8-point, I don't remember what he weighed now, 160, which is fucking good for
That's not bad.
for coastal South
I
Carolina.
was going to say
But this
down here.
rack, not really a thing. They're outside. They're tiny. No, they're upstairs in the guest bedroom now. But they were small. Like I could grab the bases of it and have the forks right over my top of my hands.
Yeah,
I mean,
I got you.
small buck. But I really only killed it just for that. And so I made this, and it's just an Instagram reel of me holding it, and then I have, and it did well, good content. But other than that, I normally just kill does because I don't care. Like it's like, for instance, this buck. The only reason he's on the wall is because he's got that front tine, looks like a Nike swoop, and I thought it was cool. But I mean, that's a typical coastal South Carolina, but that's a Bear Island buck.
I mean, it's not little.
It's not little, but it's it's not.
But
The average, you wouldn't expect to come to Whiskey and White. The guy that, like our house is Whiskey and Whitetails. You come to our house, you would expect there to be bangers all over the walls, and neither of us have that. It's not really our thing.
And the thing is like I didn't get into whitetail hunting until later in my life, like mid-20s, and that's when I moved down here. And so a deer like that versus what you might see some guy bag up in Pennsylvania or Iowa or Minnesota, South Dakota, something like that. our point, his point in that is that we're working just as hard, if not harder, in some of these low country swamp areas to get a shot at a mature buck.
That's a mature buck down
that's
here.
a mature buck.
100%. I'd
that
agree.
size.
That's why I'm not. I mean, that's
Right.
good.
Yeah.
versus a mature buck in those other states that
Sure.
looks
Yeah.
bigger.
I think people understand. I understand that. I think people
I
understand.
think
that.
people don't.
I think a lot of people. I think
Because
less
you'll notice
people,
Southeast hunters don't post their bucks. They just don't because they know that people are gonna be like, should have let him go a year.
Well, I think the
people
problem
say
is
that
because
Wow.
a huge
Yeah.
part of our country sees and has, I shouldn't say that sees or has access to media, and certain brands and social media push this idea that if you're not holding 2 Coke cans in your hands, you're right, that's 5-10 inches outside the ears, you're just not shooting.
It's like the
deer.
AKC paper thing. Like, does it really matter? Or
Well,
is it-
the
is it
answer
a-
is yes, it does
But
for
is
my
it-
world. So
But I mean, I know, but like, is it a good dog that can be trained? Like, does it matter really where it came from if it can be trained? So it's like if you have a mutt,
mediocre analogy. I'm gonna say
you get what I mean.
stack the deck in
You
your
get what I'm
favor
saying,
that
though.
you're getting good
yeah,
papers,
yeah, yeah.
kill big bucks. But the kicker is
The kicker is I don't live somewhere where there's AKC registered dogs.
Yeah, you
There's
do.
No, I know.
Oh,
That
okay.
was the
In
that was
terms
the
of
yeah,
analogy.
I'll sell you one.
That was the analogy. I bet you would.
So
30 grand
for me,
final offer.
done. So I'll pull her out of the truck right now, dude.
For your dog.
No,
Oh, okay.
hard no.
Yeah.
My theory is every deer that I've killed has been a trophy for some reason.
Hell
or
yeah.
not. That is my
I
That's
like
absolutely.
that. I like that.
like a memory I made. If I was sitting in, like, I've got a big box stand and I killed a doe with one of my clients who's never been hunting before. It's a woman from Virginia, got a duck dog, didn't know what a fucking duck dog was. Super nice lady. And never been on a deer hunt,
Yeah.
never been hunting, and got a dog, put it through my program, and
Sure.
like is into the idea of hunting and owning guns now.
Right.
She's from Virginia. She'd never done it before. Now she has shotguns and want to go deer hunting. She's training with her dog. I take her on this deer hunt. We can sit in the box blind together, and here comes a doe. That was a trophy because she got introduced to it in
Hell
an
yeah.
awesome way.
Yep.
Watched us gut it. My brother came up. We were having a couple beers in my barn, cleaning it.
Absolutely.
And it was like, she was elated.
That's what it's about, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a trophy.
Hell yeah. I completely agree that being a trophy has nothing to do with the size of the antlers.
Mhm.
Like textbook
Personal
definite
trophy.
Or maybe you get to finally go to South Dakota, whether you kill a slammer
yeah.
or not. That's a trophy. It's the
Yeah.
memories,
Dude,
the places, the people,
Yeah,
that's cool.
My wife her family is all from Minnesota. I have yet to have an opportunity to hunt whitetail in Minnesota, but I guarantee you, when that finally happens, and I'm able to kill a deer in Minnesota, I don't care how big or small it is. That's going to be a trophy for me because it's something I've
because
been
think of
looking.
how long you've had to
forward to
deal
be-
with her in order
is
in order to
That is not true.
kill a deer on her property.
That is not true. But
I know it's not. I'm just-
it would be it's all about what the story and what
Yeah.
that means for you, right? Like I've only mounted and had taxidermy done with one deer,
Mhm.
and it was an 8 buck I killed. It was not the most mature it should have been, but it presented itself at last light. It was the first hunt I was on after my dad passed away. I saw a red cardinal show up, which, for those who don't know, cardinals symbolize
Yeah.
like people believe it to associate with being visited from
Yeah.
angel,
That
whatever.
gave me a little goosebumps.
And so I saw a cardinal, and on that hunt, you see cardinals all the time, but this cardinal presented itself just differently, and there's something about it. And then 15, 20 minutes later, it's last light. This buck presents itself. I shoot it. That buck means more to me than probably any buck I'll ever shoot again,
Yeah,
with the
dude.
exception of any bucks that my kids shoot for their first time. Right. You can't tell me that's not a trophy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so with anybody else, like I have deer that I've killed. Like the doe. So we shot the doe that I shot this year with you in that
Yeah.
blind. That's actually the first. I realized it's the first deer that either of us have killed hunting together.
It's true. It was.
Like we've been friends since we were in diapers.
We never hunt together.
That's a trophy to me.
Yeah, dude.
Like I'm eating on that deer now.
Yeah.
And every time I pull that out of the freezer,
You think of your bud.
it's a little grin on my face that me
Yeah.
and my bud went out and shot this shit together. Like there's just something about that. And so the idea of a trophy being pigeonholed into
10 points.
10
Or
points
age
or a
class or-
specific age class and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
inches on the antlers is just bullshit to me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still gonna, at least on my property, I'm gonna let little guys go.
Of course.
Oh yeah, I would
Because
too if I had property.
Yeah, like there are things that'll stop me from shooting one, but I mean, I worked hard for this year's nubby, you know,
Yeah.
and it was. If you go back on the Instagram, it's another nub that I shot, and it's crazy. But I worked hard for it. I didn't see it the first sit. I didn't even know he was on the property. Never had him on camera, and he came in chasing 2 does, and
That's the best.
you know, I thought I missed him. I had no blood, no hair, disappointed in myself, you know, honestly did a poor job tracking because I was like, fuck, I fucking missed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
No reason to look, and
I couldn't believe it. And I go and work the dogs for a little while. And I'm like, man, it's just eating at me. I need to just look a little more. Still no blood, no hair, but I just weaved through my property and there he was.
No kidding.
Yep. And then underneath him, pool of blood, but
Sure.
no blood, no hair.
yeah.
And luckily he didn't go, he only went 80, 90 yards.
Yeah.
But it's thick. And I mean, no blood, no hair.
What's like shooting down here? If you have no blood, no hair, and they go more than 15 yards, you're probably not going to find them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
so
so
thick.
thick here.
I shot a deer at our club and I was as confident as you can be. And I've been shooting the same rifle for close to 12 years, 15 years. The scope, I shoot at the beginning every year just to make sure it's dialed in. I'm very confident in that rifle.
Mhm.
The only issues I've ever had with shooting that rifle have been with me, target panic or things like that.
Sure. I struggled with that early on, by the way.
Yeah.
That's why I doubted myself, because I missed
Sure.
a few deer for real because of buck
course.
fever.
Yeah. I struggled with that years
Can't
ago.
believe it's happening.
Yep.
Never missed a deer with a rifle.
I
I haven't.
Dick.
I know. I don't know. It's just,
So I shot and she kicked.
Mhm.
Everything was as textbook as it should be. Blood, no hair, no nothing. And just like you, I zigzagged. I broke it off into sort of segments and
Mhm.
looked for, 30, 40 yards, 50 yards in any direction, even went further, well into dark, didn't see anything. But I came back 2 nights later and she showed up again with her same 2. And I know it was her
Oh,
because
no
she
way.
came with 2 fawns. So I definitely missed. And
Which is, I'd rather miss than hurt them.
100%. And I blame my wife. She was hunting with me. And I was I was a little amped up to perform well in front of the old lady and impress her. And I think I got a little hyped up.
I'd always disappoint too, bud.
But I came back that night before and I shot two does in the same sit. I only recovered 1 because the first one I shot was just white hair and a little bit of fat on the ground. I got just a little
brisket or
fat
something.
under the brisket. Yeah. But I shot the second doe and she dropped right where I shot her. So I almost had two in one night. But
well, even the one
that was fun.
You shot with me, we looked for that thing.
That
I knew we hit it.
That was wild. I know I hit that.
We looked for it. For a long time. Like I found opossums. I found all kinds of shit. I found like
no deer.
And then, or I'm walking through and I see like these 2 branches, like they just call palm trees out here, but it's like these 2 palm branches that were old and they were brown and they were laying funny. And I was just like, huh. And I just walked over there just to look at it. He had already walked by it. And I just walked over there just to look at it. And I'm looking at it and I was like, it just laid weird. It looked odd. It looked like it had been disturbed, right? And so I walked past it. She was laying down right behind him.
No way.
And I was like, we would have never found it.
It's pouring rain, though.
It was raining the whole time. And it's not a direction that we thought she went.
Yeah.
No. I literally just went to look out of curiosity. I thought it looked weird.
She
out of place.
We followed the blood trail for a while. She went in a direction and then took like a hard
bank left.
Like hard left, but almost backwards into the opposite direction, and then crashed right with it, right past the tree line where there's a bunch of little short shrubs and palms. Hard to see.
I shot a buck one time. He was a normal looking buck, not a nubby. I had, before I got a rifle, I'd had a 16 gauge slug gun because in the county that I grew up in, you couldn't use a rifle. You had to use a shotgun. So that's what I had when I moved to the farm. Shot him. He jumped, backflip, landed on his back. And I'm like, at this point, actually, he was bigger than any buck I'd ever killed, like since then. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, holy shit, I got him. And then all of a sudden he like stood up, shook it off and hauled ass. And I'm like, what just happened? What just happened? So give him time. And now, but it's, again, my property is shooting towards shooting light. So it's getting dark. And I'm like, panic is setting in. I tracked him 400 yards at night.
Wow.
Just putting little ribbons on, you know, as I'm going. And it's like drop of blood, nothing, drop of blood, splash of blood. Like I equate it to like a coffee cup of just like, and then drop of blood. And 400 yards, he crossed a creek and I never found blood again.
Oh, that's
yeah. So I called the dog tracker guy the next day and he's like, listen, man, you did what you did everything you could. And if he went that far and never laid down and you didn't push him, because I'd
probably fine.
He's probably fine.
Yeah.
And it's like, that hurt, man.
It's hard to accept though.
We've done it. I bow shot a doe. We walked until we got lost. I mean, we ended up losing her in the creek.
Yeah.
Never found her.
Yeah, the creek, man.
And my arrow was greasy, so I know it wasn't a good shot. But
it happens.
Yeah. It does. That's the sad part. That to me is sad, actually.
I hate it. But it's one of the reasons that it's like I love bow hunting because of the challenge. But like if I'm trying to efficiently kill a deer, it's just like my 308s. It's God's round, and it's, you know, it's just the thing. Yeah. It's the thing you got to use. Okay. And it's like, but they sit down immediately, and I get no blood at all.
What grain do you use?
They're 165.
That's what I use in the 30-06.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild to me when I shoot stuff down here at the 30-06 that it runs anywhere at all. I'm like,
well, so now I'm shooting everything a little forward.
Mm-hmm. I aim where it's going to exit their heart. Yeah. I know exactly. I worked at a meat processing plant, so I know exactly where their heart is. I aim where the bullet will exit their heart. I don't really care where it goes in. Okay. And that's helped me a lot because I know most people will aim right behind the shoulder or whatever. Like,
but they can still run then.
Nah, they don't. They drop immediately because I know my bullet is going to go through their heart.
Oh, so I'm with you. I'm just saying if you do a little forward of that, they can't run.
Yeah,
you
bust the shoulders out. Yeah.
At least one of them, right?
Yeah, sure.
Mine is I pull the trigger, they lay down. It's
308. Apparently, it's God's round.
It's God's round.
Have to get one now.
It's God's round.
The one that I shot after I shot that first one that I shot in the brisket, I shot it almost dead on.
I also use a tripod. I should mention
that helps.
That reminds me of the Austin Powers movie.
That's right.
Yeah. You know what's funny?
For the older listeners our age, they're going to know the reference.
The
young bucks aren't going to know Austin Powers.
We have a DVD player, and every time I'm there, I watch Austin Powers. They have all of them.
That's awesome. Yeah, dude.
I love Austin Powers.
He's a damn tripod.
Yeah, baby.
I love that movie.
That's awesome.
All right, I'm starving.
All right.
Yeah, we did almost an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah,
didn't seem like it, right?
No, that was great.
It always goes by so fast.
That's a good podcast for sure.
Yeah, I hate cutting it off, but it's like we'll sit here for 3 hours of it,
and we'll just keep drinking, and it'll keep getting rowdier. So,
and
you have a date in 15 minutes, I think.
I do. Yeah, appreciate that. I'll be late, but if you don't disappoint them on the first one, then they get used to being you right.
Dude, that's 100% right.
Yeah, they gotta get used to disappointment.
Yeah, everyone's like, "How do you get away with treating her like that?" I'm like, I was way worse 20 years ago.
You gotta do it out the gate, brother.
Yeah. If you get 90s in school all the time, your parents expect 90s. If you get 85s and then get a 90, they're proud of you. Right. Remember that.
100%. Don't ever be full tilt.
Nope. Give them 85%.
Oh, shit. We got to do our giveaway. We'll do it real quick.
All right. Do it. Knock it out, baby.
All right. Yeah. While we're looking that up, why don't you tell folks where they can find more stuff about what you got going on, man?
Who, me? Okay. Yeah. So, again, my name is Bob Owens, Lone Duck Outfitters and Kennels. Instagram is where I hit it up hard. It's at Lone Duck, LONEDUCK. YouTube, if you want to learn how to train your own duck dog, the YouTube's got it all. Our podcast is Lone Duck's Gun Dog Chronicles. You can find it anywhere you listen to a podcast. And if you just type in Lone Duck, it'll pop up. So appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely.
This has been a blast. I hope your listeners enjoy just us bullshitting around.
Oh, they will.
Oh, they will. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for having me. It was a ton of fun.
Awesome. No, thanks for coming. Happy to have you. And, looking forward to, we'll do this again for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So I got the names in there. This is for the Pat Van Winkle bottle, the broken bottle that we were.
Did you put my name in?
You had to donate to Camp Hero, Kentucky.
I just did.
Okay. I'm in there 5 times. So if we pull a whiskey and whitetails, I'm going to spin it again.
All right.
All right. Or I might just give it to you. I don't know. We'll see how I feel
Let's
at
get
the
weird.
moment. So I'm going to hit shuffle a couple times. This is live recorded. So I'm going to hit shuffle a couple times and hit click spin.
I'm watching.
Here we go.
Shuffle, 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 shuffle.
Here
And
we go.
There we go.
get the sound.
Name of wheels.
It's happening. Come on.
Adam McSperry, my man. He is a gun dog. He's a gun dog photographer.
Who is it?
Oh, Adam. Nice.
Grid Square.
I didn't know his last name.
Nice.
Grid Square. So
Congrats, Adam.
congratulations to Adam, Grid Square. We will be we'll get that out to you. I know he moved. He doesn't live here anymore, but I think he's in Charlotte now.
Nice.
You
But,
take some really cool photos.
That's
yeah.
awesome. I'll have to follow him on the old gram.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Thank you everybody for donating. Thank you everybody for listening. And I hope everybody has a good day.
Cheers. Thanks for having me, boys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, man.
Thinking